1945 Second World War ended, world had to come together because they had to reconstruct, to rebuild everything. And this is going to happen also. After this COVID-19 situation is over, right now it's not over, we are in the peak, I think. This is a dangerous time. So everyone needs to be very, very careful. Imagine it's like a war and the guns and bombs and bullets are flying here and there. So isn't it better to stay at home? If you go out, you might get hit. So take it like that. Now it will be over and then the leaders, responsible people will get together as they did in the past. History will repeat itself. So 1946, the world leaders got together. They had to reconstruct, and to reconstruct you need money or finance. That's why the World Bank, the name itself. So, and this was very effective because within 3 years, reconstruction was completed and now it had to go the next step, that is to develop it. We look at the different agencies now. 1955, you have the EDI or Economic Development Institute. The function is to give technical assistance. Next is the IFC, International Finance Corporation. The functions, there are three. One is to promote capital for private enterprise, the development of local capital markets. As the saying goes, it needs money to make money. Why you need to know this is that in future, money will be an important responsibility for you to handle. It's very easy to spend, but not so easy to earn. And it takes a lot of wisdom, a lot of maturity to invest it properly. Then the last part is exactly that, to promote private investment in developing countries. 6 years later, 1962, IDA, International Development Association. This is a separate institution to make loans easier to obtain by nations heavily in debt. In 1966, ICSID, International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. Now this mainly deals with the issue of nationalization of foreign-owned assets. So it mainly deals with investment disputes, especially between a government and the private company. In history, this is a very important event, the Bretton Woods Conference. Why? Why was it necessary? Firstly, to reconstruct the devastated economy. After Second World War, everything was not just destroyed but devastated. Who were the people or the participants in that conference? This was a group of financial experts representing 44 countries. Place is Bretton Woods, New Hampshire in the USA. The date is July 1944. In history, it is also called the UN or the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference. Bretton Woods Conference, UN Monetary and Financial Conference, it is the same thing. Don't confuse the two. They agreed on a system for establishing an international lending agency. This was the World Bank. The condition was that they could borrow an amount equal to their contribution. When we think of World Bank, it is the same as IBRD or International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. After the Second World War, you had a situation where you could say blue and red. The Western powers or the nations following democracy on one side, including the countries of Western Europe, USA, they were one group, one club, and the other side is the countries following communism or one-party rule, backed by the Soviet Union or the Russians, USSR at that time. So this was the political division, or let us say the military division at that time. Although they didn't fight directly as they did in the First World War or Second World War, they would fight each other in many ways. Not by talking also, there is a fight. You're not actually physically fighting, but actually you are not at peace. So war is the absence of peace. There was no peace among these two powers for a long time. The other communist powers, they were not to be left behind, so they also started something called International Bank for Economic Cooperation. These are mainly the communist countries. So basically what the World Bank or the IBRD was doing for its member countries, this IBEC was doing for the communist-backed countries. Communist or communism means a form of government where there is only one party, single party. then that party is the Communist Party. A simple distinction of IMF and the World Bank. Firstly, what is IMF? First, understand what is IMF. So this is an international organization. It aims to promote global economic growth and financial stability, encourage international trade, and reduce poverty. It is in Washington, USA. There are 189 member countries. It makes loans to countries easier, those who are having any financial crisis. So not only that, it collects data, and this was also created as part of the Bretton Woods Agreement. This is the result of the Bretton Woods Conference. So you could say actually the IMF or International Monetary Fund is more important. I'm repeating the 3 points once again. First is financial stability. Next is trade or business. And third is economic growth and employment, or to reduce poverty. The lowest 40% of each country, there must be income growth for them. The bottom 40% is very, very crucial. This is what brings the whole system down, not just for academics, for studies, but also for economics as well. So it's a very wise target. It's a very practical target. And they have set the target for 2030. Remember this, to end poverty, $1.90. So they want to increase that. So this is IMF, difference between IMF and World Bank. It is the finance or the fund or the purpose of that fund. And the IBRD or the World Bank is all the different departments, EDI, ICSID, whatever. In the past, when the gold standard was there, let us say $10 was equal to the weight in gold or the value in gold, the gold standard. A monetary system backed by the value of physical gold. Now this was standard in the past. Now they used not only gold, but they also used other precious metals like silver also. The question is why gold? Because it's an easy answer, because gold doesn't spoil over time, but it creates an imbalance. That means those countries which have more gold and more gold reserve, their value goes up. Those who don't, value goes down. They went off this standard and it is not used anymore. Britain stopped using 1931, America also 1933, and finally 1973 itself they removed it altogether. Now is something called par value. That means it floats in relationship to each other. Compare dollar and INR. Now why dollar? Why not pound? That is another good question. But mainly you look at a stable currency. So this is how it is with currencies. The strong currencies or the strong economies, they always run ahead. They may not be running very fast also. The gap goes on getting bigger and bigger among them. But what to do? This is the system. Nobody told the person behind not to run. You have to run fast to catch up. So this is how modern economics, modern finance works. The good thing is that you keep running at a pace, you maintain it. If you don't maintain it, you'll be lagging behind. Who knows, you may go even further behind also. The people running in the back also, this is also a chance for you. Nobody told you to be lazy, to run slowly. So par value is something like that. It's exactly like that. That means it is fair. The ones who perform better, they are able to go forward. And those who are not, don't worry, the bank, World Bank is already there to help you out. So this in economics is the equality in price, the rate of exchange, purchasing power or wages. It's actually not a fixed rate, it floats. It means it changes from time to time. Depends on the situation. How fast you run, that is up to you, how well prepared you are.